how to get your motorcycle license in New South Wales. So first thing you're going to do when you decide you want to ride a motorbike. Now Australia is different to the UK. If you're in the UK, you can ride anything up to 50cc with just a car license. I believe it covers motorbikes as well. I know it's definitely scooters, but I think if you were to vape, I don't know where you can find a 50cc motorcycle, but anyway, in Australia you can't do that. If you're on a car license, you cannot slap some L's on a scooter and go ride, unfortunately. You have to go and do something called the pre-learner course, which is great fun. It's really, really fun and useful. That's sarcasm. Now look, it is... If you've got any experience on a bike, like on a dirt bike or anything, or sneakily riding like on your street, on your friend's bike, you basically just do what your friend would or your dad would have taught you, how to really basically control a motorcycle. It's a 2-day course, but it's 2 half days. They say it's not to overwhelm you with too much information. I think it's kind of a good thing. If you've got no experience, it gets you comfortable on it in 2 days, and it's designed for people with zero experience. So whether you've got experience or no experience, you will do exactly the same thing. But day one, you rock up and you do some classroom sessions. You talk a little bit about bikes and bike safety, and then you head out and you get onto their rental bikes. So you don't need to take a bike. Most of them have CB125. Some of them have these little Benellis as well, which are quite fun. And for the first few hours of the first day, you don't even turn the bike on. So they get you comfortable with what all the controls do. You stand the bike up, you get used to how doing your head checks, how to get on the bike, putting the kickstand up, things like that. You don't even turn it on. Then from there, you waddle the bike with your feet. You get used to how the weight feels, because if you've not ridden one before, even a small bike feels heavy. You get used to how the bike feels. You waddle around, which is actually quite hard, because it is kind of hard to waddle bikes because they are quite heavy. Once you do that, you partner up. Your partner pushes you. You get used to just rolling to a stop and feeling that front brake and how to stop. So front brake, rear brake, left foot down. And that's it for the first half of the day. Then you have some like tea and biscuits. You do some more classroom sessions. Now, the classroom sessions, depending on your instructor, but the ones that I've had, I've done it twice because I let it expire the first time I did it. But anyway, the instructors that I have, they're pretty good. They do a lot of this motorcycle is going to try to kill you. Everyone on the road is going to try to kill you. You got to prepare to go to war every time you ride a motorcycle. Oh, that hurt my throat. You know, that kind of gist of things where it's like a bit of scaremongering. But to be honest, I know a lot of people that have done that. They did that part of the course and they think, you know what, this is too scary, it's not for me. Which I think is better to find out there than to get on the road and get terrified, get in an accident and, you know, die. And then you go out to the bikes, you learn how to turn them on, a little bit of foreplay, you rub them a little bit. Nah, joke's not that kind of turning on. But you learn how to turn the motorcycle on, and then you start learning a bit about clutch control. This can be confusing for a lot of people. If you've driven a manual car before, you'll pick it up quite quickly. It's just the same thing you do in a car, but with your feet. If you've not driven any manuals before, it can take a while, and you will stall a lot. Not you might, you will. That's fine. Everyone stalls. It's good practice to do it there. All you do is you go, oh. You can't park there. All you do is you basically, I'll show you right here what you do. So you basically start like this. You have your feet on the floor. You go bike point, control, control, control. Lift your feet up, clutch in, front brake, foot down, brake. Basically, that's what you do for, maybe like an hour. You kind of slowly go slightly further distances, but you don't go more. I think it's like 50 meters. You don't do any, from memory, you don't do any like turns or anything on that first day. You literally just go front. I think you do a little bit of a wiggle, like a cone weave, like through like this, like on the floor, but nowhere near this speed. You go like maximum 6 kilometers an hour. So it's really safe. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, people do fall off in that stage, and yes, questionably they do still pass, but they won't push you faster than you can go. So it's pretty safe. There's nothing to worry about. Should be safe. get schooled, man. And then day 2, you come in and you don't do all the stuff again. You do a quick recap. Why? Do you know what I like to do when someone does that? I'll just take that spot back. Thank you very much. Anyway, as I was saying, on day 2, you carry on from where you were on day 1. You do a quick recap of what you did on day 1, where you just ride in a straight line, and then you start looking at changing gears, going around corners. So it's like a big oval, maybe with like 50 and 20 meters on either side. And you basically just go up one side, change gear into second, take the corner, change down into first, take the corner, and you just do that for like an hour, just riding in circles, which is pretty good, to be honest. Like, for most people, it's kind of daunting, like feeling how heavy the bike feels as you go around the corner. So it's good. You get used to the speed of it. You get used to clutch control, all those little things, and it's more fun. It's more fun than the first day. Then once you've done that, you go and do they call it a simulated road ride. It's not really, it's the furthest thing from a simulated road ride, but you basically ride around in a circle. They put some giveaway junctions in there. They put like an emergency stop in there, and you just do that basically for the rest of the day. You just have to look over your shoulders for other bikes. You have to do like 90-degree turns, things like that. So it's pretty simple. It can be overwhelming for a lot of people, and as soon as you put traffic in, you then have to be like, oh my god, bike point, oh there's a bike coming, oh, and people can panic. They still pass. It's not necessarily like, well done, you've got your L's, you should go out on the main road and just go riding. Some people are confident enough to do so, but most, once you've done that, you get your certificate and pass. I can't remember if you have to go and do a hazard perception test. I'm pretty sure once you've got that, you can just go out. No, once you've got that, you have to do some sort of, after you, no rush. Fair enough. You go to Service New South Wales, you get your license. I don't think for your L's you have to do a computer test, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. I'll pop it on the screen now.
Hey guys, me from the future. Basically, I got this completely wrong. You do what's called the rider knowledge test after you have done your pre-learner course to get your learner license. I talk about it later in the video about doing it after your P's. Ignore that, you do it after your L's.
Oh, that traffic light's fallen down. How the hell does that happen? Anyway, once you've done that, you've got your L's, and you can ride a learner legal motorcycle on the road. There's different rules and regulations around the L's, basically like 300, 400cc, 500cc, some 650s, but it just has to be LAMS registered. So there's a full list of bikes. I can do another video on LAMS bikes if you would like. So if you'd like to see that, drop a comment below. But yeah, once you've got your L's, you are able to go out on the road. Now, those L's, they last for 365 days from you getting them, and you have to be on them for at least 3 months before you can go and do your P's. So, how to get your motorcycle license, part 2. So once you've got your L's, and you've had your L's for at least 3 months, you can go and get your P's. So your P's is very, very similar, to be honest, to your L's day. It's shorter. It's a 1-day course, but this is a full day, so it's like 6 or 8 hours. It's nothing to worry about. You can practice. You know exactly what the test is going to be. It's the same every time. But even if you don't get, if you don't specifically practice, you should. But if you don't specifically practice for it on the road, you basically do loads of practice on the day. And the instructors are there to help you. They're not really trying to catch you out and make you fail. They want you to pass, but if you're really shit or you're dangerous or whatever, they will just fail you. So keep that in mind. So on your P's day, you do a little bit of theory in the classroom. You kind of recap what you finished on your L's, but the main portion is out on in the car park. So they'll go over what you're going to do in the car park. You'll go out and you'll practice it, and then you'll essentially be tested on it. The first thing you do is essentially you do what you finished on your L's day. You do like a simulated road ride. Eventually you do like a big circle loop, and then you do some giveaway junctions, and you do some emergency stops and things like that. But then after that you have a quick break because they don't want you getting overwhelmed, and they've got to stretch the course out into one whole day. So you go inside, you have some tea and biscuits, and then you come out and you start practicing for the MOST test, the Motorcycle Operator Skills Test. MOST. And essentially that's just like a bike handling test. It's riding in circles, weaving around cones, emergency stop, 90-degree turn, and something else. So for the MOST, you practice it for hours and hours and hours. I don't know how long we did it for, but probably like 2 hours of just going over and over and over it. It's not like they just throw you in at the deep end. Again, they want you to pass. But for the MOST, you do a series of maneuvers. First thing you will do is a left-hand turn. Now, before I do get into it, one thing that's worth mentioning is every single time you stop or start, do this. People fail from not doing the head checks. It's kind of bullshit, but that's how most people fail. You can get like 3 minors, no majors, or something like that. So once you've done the left-hand turn, you come back to the start, and then I may get the order of these wrong, I apologize. I then believe you do the cone weave. So you take off, you do this little weave around cones. It's super easy. It's like what you do on a road like this where you weave in between the lines. That one's pretty simple. And then the one that most people fail on is the U-turn. So practice your U-turns. It's a right-handed U-turn as well, which is everyone's least favorite. But what you're going to do is you go up into this, you do your head checks, you go up into the box, you do a right-handed U-turn, there's loads of room, look where you want to go, hold the bike point and have your foot on the rear brake. Rent one of their bikes, because their bikes are the easiest bikes I've ever had to do a U-turn on. It's a little CB125, it's a piece of piss. And after that, there's an emergency stop where you have to speed up to, I'm not sure what it is, it might be like 30 kilometers an hour, and then stop before these tennis balls. And then you do like a hazard avoidance. So again, you come up to like 30 kilometers an hour, and then you have to swerve around these cones. I'm pretty sure that is it, all of it for the MOST test. Again, I'll put a video on the screen if I've got it wrong, but it's been a while since I've done it, so I apologize. I should have researched. Before you do the MOST test, you do a road ride. Now, don't get too nervous about this one, because it's not like a driving test where your examiner's watching you the whole time. There's like a group of 6 to 7 of you, and want to race, brah? And then essentially you ride around, the instructor goes through a bunch of scenarios on the road. He says he's watching you the whole time, but he's really not. Most of the time he's in front, but he'll take turns following each one of you like at least once. I've been here before. Yeah, he'll take turns following each one of you at least once. And you do it for like an hour. And then once you've done that, you go back to the test center. But it's pretty simple. It's like you're just kind of riding around on the street. You just make sure you're safe. But no one really fails on that part, so I wouldn't stress too much about that. I don't want to go on this road from here. But just be overly cautious. It's just a normal ride. It's nothing to stress about. And then you do your MOST test. So once you've done your MOST test, they tell you straight away whether you passed it or failed it. You'll know because you've learned, like, if you put your foot down, it's a fail, you know, all that kind of stuff. You've learned that already. So they will tell you immediately. If you failed, you stay on your L's and you have to do it again. Sometimes you can pay to do it again the same day if they're not super busy, but most of the time you have to rebook it another day. Don't worry, it's fine. It doesn't show up on your license or anything. You just have to pay to do it again, which sucks, but you've got time to practice, so it's fine. If you pass your MOST test, you are not on your P's just yet, young one. No. You have to go and book in a time to do your hazard perception at Service New South Wales. Now it is easy, but it's also easy to fail. It's a list of it might be 50 questions. In the first 30, you're allowed to fail, say, 3 of them or get 3 wrong answers. In the second 20, you can't get any wrong, or you're allowed to get 1 wrong or something. I can't remember. Basically, just don't get any wrong. You can download an app. The questions are the same every single time, but they slightly change 1 or 2 of them. The app has a list of 70 questions you go through, and you can just do mock tests over and over and over and over again. And you don't even need to learn the actual, know the answer. You should, but you don't have to know the answer to each question. You just learn whether it's A, B, C, D for each one. You just do it over and over again, and you remember. Then you go into Service New South Wales, you pass your hazard perception test with absolutely, oh, fuck my cock. Oh, Jesus. With absolutely flying colours, because you are a Motovision subscriber and he has taught you well. No. And then you've got your Ps. What changes? Pretty much nothing, but you still can only ride a lamb's bike. The only difference is if you are under 25 years old, you will be on your red Ps, and then I think you're on your red Ps for maybe 2 years, and then once you've done your 2 years, you go onto your green Ps for a year, and then you can go onto a full license. I think it's 3 years. If you are over 25, like myself, you only have to be on your red Ps for uno euro from passing your test. That is your hazard perception test. So you only have to do that for 1 year, which is great because then you can ride a larger motorcycle. But there's a bunch of rules on your Ps, like you can't have a pillion on the back. You might be able to have a pillion when you're on green Ps, but those little rules, speed limits, things like that. But yeah, then once you're off your Ps, you've got full license and you are A-OK for the rest of your life. If you change countries, most countries you can transfer it to. It really depends. If you're coming to Australia from parts of Asia, they don't, and you have a license there, they don't let you, or Brazil, places like that, they don't let you. If you want me to do another video on what bikes you're allowed to ride at different levels of your license, let me know, and I will do so. Watch me skip this whole line of traffic. This is why you should buy a bike. And yeah, like, subscribe, follow me on MySpace, send me a letter in the post, and I will see you next time. Wheelies, wheelies, I like wheelies.